Who is Djeneba? Djeneba, had you always wanted to be an entrepreneur? Can you remember how you got your first customer for DJ coaching? Welcome to the JOD Pod, a micro podcast where we interview CEOs, entrepreneurs, founders, authors, and coaches. Today, we are very lucky to be joined by Djeneba Kante Lafoy, life coach and founder at DJ Coaching. Great to have you with us today, GJ.
Hi James. Hi everyone.
For those of us who don't know who you are, DJ, and what you do, who is Djeneba?
Okay, so I'm a life coach and I help women in their 40s feel alive, fulfilled, and find their sexy spark again. That's what I do as a life coach.
Wonderful. And how long have you been doing that for?
Nearly 2 years. Wow. Yeah, been nearly 2 years.
So all through lockdown, you've been doing that. That's fantastic. And what made you first want to get into life coaching and entrepreneurship? You know, running your own business.
I think my background is, before launching my coaching business, I ran network marketing business for 7 years. That's where that's where it comes from, like the idea of being my own entrepreneur. I have 2 children. I just love the flexibility, working from home. It ticked all the boxes for me. So I started my MLM business 7 years ago. And I realized after 7 years, that's what I like the most, what I love the most about running my MLM business was coaching my team. That's what I love the most, not necessarily selling the product, but coaching my team. That's where I refined my listening skills, my coaching skills. And I'm like, 2 years ago, I think I took the plunge because I was terrified, but I didn't let that stop me. And I'm like, okay, I step out of my comfort zone. I'm like, okay, let's do this. I felt like I've been a coach for so many years. I had so many people telling me, you know what, you should be a coach, DJ. Just 2 years ago, I mustered the courage to launch my coaching career.
That's fantastic. It's interesting, the thing about MLM, because I think most people listening to this have probably encountered it at some point. I certainly have when I was a personal trainer. And one of the things that I always think about it is that it does teach you a lot of interesting skills and habits. But a lot of the time when you're with what you're building is you're building someone else's business rather than actually building your own. And I love the fact that you use the language that you stepped out of your comfort zone to build something for yourself. But I think ultimately it's a lot more valuable and more rewarding as well to build something with your own name on it.
Absolutely, and I feel I can really show up with authenticity. I can be myself. I'm not following anyone else's rules. I'm not telling any other people's products. I can be myself, and this is so empowering. And that's why it's so scary as well, because you haven't got anyone to hold your hand, and you really need to make. You learn really how to be a really good decision maker, but it's been. I loved it. It's been emotional and ups and downs, but I think that's the beauty of running a business. It's part of it. It's part of it.
Journeys aren't worthwhile unless you have ups and downs. So it's important to have those.
Yes.
Djeneba, had you always wanted to be an entrepreneur?
No, interesting. No, never seen myself as an entrepreneur until when I was presented with this opportunity with MLM business. That's when my son was 1 year old. So it was, 8 years ago. And I just thought, you know what? I've never seen myself as a businesswoman or anything, but there was something about it. I just, again, step out of my comfort zone. I just followed my gut instinct. Like, that's something I need to try. I need to try that. That's because I was working 9 to 5, and I just thought it's not working for me. And my daughter, I had a daughter who was 9 and my son was 1. I'm like, okay, let's try this. I like the sound of it, and that's how, again, I jumped in.
Great. And now you're running your own business, DJ Coaching.
Yes.
One question I always ask people is how they got their first customer. Can you remember how you got your first customer for DJ Coaching?
Totally, James. And I think what's important here is I remember the thoughts I had, because I think as an entrepreneur, we focus a lot on the actions we take, which is obviously you need to take action. But I do feel like, it's finding a balance between your feminine and masculine energy. So it is about doing, but it's also about being and really thinking. And I remember thinking, you know what, this is what I want to do. I cannot wait any longer. I remember thinking September 2019, I cannot wait any longer. I have no idea, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. It needs to be done. So what I did, and I remember feeling terrified and like, oh, feeling sick in my stomach. Because I knew I wanted to coach women in their 40s, I'm like, okay. And because of my MLM business, I guess, I had quite a good network. So I knew how to contact people and I had certain skills. So I'm like, okay, let me message women in my network who are in their 40s. So that's the women I want to help. And I sent a few WhatsApp messages saying basically a voice. I still have the voice note, but it was really not even that professional. I think I was just excited. It's just my energy. Something like, I'm now a coach. I have women in their 40s. If you feel like you could do with my help, let me know. If not, no worries at all. Something like that. And a friend, a kind of a friend, more like someone I've known, she messaged me back and she said, "Good timing, Djeneba. I'm in a rut. I'm feeling a bit stuck in my life. Would love to meet up for coffee." And I'm like, oh gosh, okay. But I remember feeling really detached. I'm like, okay, let's see. We're going to have a conversation. We met up at Costa. I remember really clearly. She sat down, told me her story. I listened. And at the end, she's like, yeah, I want to work with you. That was it. My first client. I created my first client like that.
That's wonderful. And were you kind of secretly like, yeah, I've got my first client?
Oh yeah.
Or were you cool as a cucumber on the outside?
Oh no. Because you know what, James? I realized, oh my gosh, I'm going to be paid to do what I like. Having this one-to-one meaningful conversation. I was made for this. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's the work I'm supposed to do. And I'm going to be paid for this. And I remember telling my husband, I've got my first client. Oh my gosh. Yeah, fantastic. That was such an incredible experience. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to step out of my comfort zone. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to figure it out step by step. I can't see the whole staircase. I remember having faith and like, it needs to be done. It needs to be done.
Brilliant. That's such a wonderful story, Djeneba. And I think for anybody that's listening to this, thinking about starting their own business, what a tactic, looking at your current network, your current connections, and sending a voice message as well. Like a lot of people would put up a social media message or send a text message or send an email. But when you send a voice message or a video, there's an energy, there's a tonality that comes through. And I bet I can guarantee that there's some super high energy that comes off that, and people vibe off that as well. I'm so excited for you 2 years ago about going through that. I think that must have been absolutely fantastic. So, Djeneba, what are you working on now? What's the big thing that's happening for DJ coaching?
So for me now, it's all about, I'm focusing on my one-to-one coaching. For now, that's what I really enjoy the most, and that's where my clients get the most value. So I have a one-to-one 6-month coaching program called Alive. Basically, I help women who are feeling lost, they're feeling stuck, they know that there's something not quite right. And I think a lot of women in their 40s feeling a bit like, the kids are growing up, they don't really know who they are anymore. And I feel like there's no way women in their 40s should feel unsexy and outdated and old. No way. We're only getting started. I firmly believe. I'm 45. And I think it's such a wonderful age. And I want that for other women as well. I want them to think, okay, I can do anything, regardless of our past. I think that's really important as well, because we tend to let our past dictate our future. And I'm like, no. Don't care what you've done in the past. It's all about what you can create. With your thoughts, with your emotions, with your actions, and that's what I'm working on, helping as many women as possible through this one-to-one coaching program, a 6-month journey.
Wonderful. And how do you deliver that?
I deliver it's basically a weekly Zoom call, an hour long, where I listen to them. I create this safe space, a loving, empowering space, and I think especially as women, we need to feel secure and we need to feel safe. So I create that for them, and I like to think that I have really sharp listening skills as well. So and I absolutely love it because their lives are transformed, from burnt out, unfulfilled, feeling lost, feeling disconnected from their body. They reconnect with their body, reconnect with their needs and the desires, and ultimately, I want to help them fulfill their purpose. It's all when you live a purposeful life, a meaningful life. I think it's just wonderful, and I think especially in their women in their 40s have so much to offer. So yeah.
Wonderful. And so if someone's listening to this and they love your energy, which I assume most people listening to this are going to love your energy, but if someone who's feeling like they might want to have a conversation with you to see if you could help them, what's the best way for them to reach out and have a conversation with you, Djeneba?
They can DM me on Insta. I think that's the best way. They can find me on Insta. It's DJ_coaching44. They
Wonderful.
can find me, DM me, and we can have a call, like a connection call, to see and have a kind of informal chat. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll link to that in the show notes as well. But if you're listening to this and you've got your phone on you, hammer into Instagram straight away. Say that you heard about DJ on the JOD Pod, and I'm sure she'd be very happy to take your message. Djeneba, are you ready for some quick fire questions?
Yeah, let's go for it. I'm ready.
Awesome. What's your most used app or SaaS product that you use every day?
You know what? I use Spotify. That's my favorite app. I love Spotify. I listen to podcasts. This has been my lifeline as well. Like, listen to podcasts. There are some very kick-ass women, visionaries and thought leaders I listen to. You really need to feed as an entrepreneur, and I'm sure you know that, Jane. Feeding your mind with really positive and good new ideas as well, new concepts, and I guess that's what you need to do for any new entrepreneur. Until I guess you create your own concept and your own. Sometimes it helps to just feed yourself with other people's ideas until you can make your own ideas and your own concepts.
And some ideas just come from getting two different ideas and merging them together. So the more that you can bring on the better, definitely. Great recommendation, Spotify. Wonderful. What's your most recommended book?
Oh gosh, I love this book. I love recommending books. I could do a whole podcast recommending books. Untamed by Glennon Doyle. Untamed, Stop Pleasing, Start Living. This is a must. And I do feel like even though it was written by women who's 44, so everything she says really resonates with me. I think it's a good book for men as well, because if you're an entrepreneur and you have maybe women in your team, or maybe you do coach women, you work with women, I think that's a really good book for men as well, to understand more what's going on in our mind and the challenges and maybe how to communicate better with women as well. So I think for men and women, this book is absolutely fantastic. And now she actually has a podcast as well. She just launched her own podcast, Glennon Doyle, but she's freaking amazing. I love her.
Great recommendation. Not heard of it, so I will be adding that to my reading list. And Djeneba, if you say that I need to read it, I will do exactly what you say.
Yeah.
You already said that you like your podcast. So who is it that you like listening to or watching on the YouTubes?
Okay, so she's a podcaster, she's a marketing coach, business coach, and she's called Simone Seol. So Simone, and her last name is Ceol. She's the founder of Joyful Marketing. I highly recommend her for even though she specifically coaches, but I do feel like for any entrepreneur who wants to build an online business using social media, she's incredible. She's authentic, she's real, she comes up with new ideas. I love her, I'm obsessed. So Simone Seol, she's fantastic.
Great recommendation. Thanks, Djeneba. And anything on YouTube, or are you all about the Spotifys?
I really love Spotify. YouTube, no, you know what I'm going to say? No, I love Spotify. That's my go-to, my daily,
Fair enough. That's a good recommendation, Djeneba. Thank you very much. Who's an up-and-comer, someone that we should be keeping an eye on as a future superstar, DJ?
You know what? I have to recommend my coach, my business coach. She's absolutely fantastic. She's a business coach, a business mentor, and she's called Alexa Costa, and you can find her easily on Instagram. It's Alexa with a KS _ Costa, COSTA. And Alexa is absolutely fantastic. She's on fire. She's absolutely on fire. She calls her like a badass rebel, and she likes working with women who want to change the world. She's fantastic. She has two young daughters, but talking about sexiness and owning who you are and being comfortable in your own skin, and she's on a mission to empower women, to help as many women as possible and create a six figures business. That's life changing, as a women, because we're holding ourselves back, we're afraid to be seen, and I think she's on a freaking mission, and I do feel like you're going to hear more about her in the next few months and years.
Wonderful. What a great recommendation, Alexa Costa. We'll link to her as well, and maybe we'll try and get her on the JOD Pod. Who knows? Yeah, we'll try and do that, shall we? Try and do that. And then finally, could you repeat your Instagram handle again, Djeneba, just in case anyone wants to follow up with you?
Sure. So it's DJ_coaching44.
Tremendous. There we have it. Djeneba is a life coach and founder of DJ Coaching. She helps women in their 40s feel alive, fulfilled, and find their sexy spark again. From burned out and purposeless, her clients feel joy and lightness. I think from speaking to Djeneba, you can understand why she's so successful at doing that. She managed to get her first customer back in the good old days of September 2019. Used her network. She sent out a voice message to her WhatsApp contacts. I can hear it now, the energy and excitement that's coming through that. And she managed to get a friend of a friend as a coaching client after having a coffee with her in Costa. I think there's people out there that are thinking about starting businesses now. Send a voice message out to some of your contacts that you think might be ideal clients. You never know, and you never know who they might forward that message onto as well. DJ loves listening to podcasts. Her favorite app is Spotify. The JOD Pod will be on Spotify soon. Don't you worry about that. And reading-wise, is Untamed by Glennon Doyle. Sounds like a great recommendation for all women out there, but certainly for us guys as well to get our eyeballs on and see if we can learn and grow from reading that book that I've not heard of before. Great recommendation. Thank you. And Simone Siol is DJ's favorite podcaster, second favorite podcaster after the JOD Pod. And Simone shares about marketing, joyful marketing. Sounds like something that we could all get our teeth into to learn from. And then DJ's very kindly suggested that we should be keeping an eye on Alexa Costa, her business coach, who's on fire at the moment. Certainly someone that we'd like to get on the JOD Pod as a potential future guest. And we could all follow DJ Djeneba over on Instagram. Her Instagram handle again is DJ_coaching44. Get in contact with DJ there, send her a message, drop her a note, say you heard about her on the JOD Pod, and ask her about her live program, her 6-month coaching program, where she might be able to help you get out of the rut that you currently find yourself in. DJ Djeneba, thank you for joining us today on the JOD Pod.
Thank you, James. Loved it. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today on the JOD Pod. If you want to play the YouTube game and make sure you don't miss out on any of these future episodes, you need to hit subscribe. You need to hit the thumbie uppy like button. You need to hit the bell so you get a notification every time we upload an interview just like this. And why not ask Djeneba a question in the comments below? I will bully Djeneba to come back and answer every single one of these. If you've got a question about starting a coaching business, if you've got a question about being stuck in a rut, maybe podcast suggestions, Djeneba is linked into the Spotify matrix. I'm sure she'll be able to throw some suggestions at you. It'll help out this video, it'll help out Djeneba, and it'll bring a little bit of joy and happiness into our lives. Hopefully you've been inspired by Djeneba's story, that she started from nothing. She's created a business out of nothing during lockdown, and I'm sure you can do the same. So go and build something and inspire the next generation. Thanks for joining us today on the JOD Pod.
If you enjoyed this interview, why don't you check out some of these other interviews that we've done on the JOD Pod. More inspirational CEOs, coaches, entrepreneurs, founders, and authors. I'm sure there's something here that will inspire you to build something new.